Going.
Hello everyone watching this at the SA Press Club luncheon this afternoon. I'm at Adelaide Airport. I'm just about to board my flight to the UK to go and fulfil my SA Press Club scholarship, which I won last year and which is sponsored by Malaysia Airlines. So thank you very much for that. And it also means that I've actually managed to come back in time and edit this for you to watch it today. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a little sample of what I've been doing in the UK, so let's roll the tape. In London.
There's blood on your torch, China!
And I witnessed the commotion that seemed to go hand in hand with the Olympic torch relay. I thought it was fitting really, given that I'll be in Beijing in August covering the event with News Limited's team. Later that day, on the train and off to the East Midlands. My stop, the BBC. Okay, so here I am in Nottingham at the BBC, and this is where quite a few video journalists work. One of them is Brady Haran, who is behind the camera filming this for me, and you'll get to meet him later on. He's a former advertiser reporter from Adelaide, and he works here as a video journalist, which is really fantastic. So let's go see what they get up to. This is the Multimedia Newsroom, home to radio, online and TV, and where Brady has worked for the past 5 years.
Say hello to SA Press Club luncheon.
Hello SA Press Club luncheon. I won 2 of your raffles many years ago, and it remains the only 2 raffles I've ever won in my life.
He was among the first wave of specifically trained video journalists to be rolled out by the BBC, and it's a move that's been replicated around the world.
It was around 2003 that the BBC started training people across England to be video journalists, taking them from various backgrounds, be it journalistic background, which was what I had, or a technical background, so a cameraman or an editor, and they started taking people from all those different backgrounds and teaching them to do everything and become these kind of one-man or one-person bands, and I was sort of near the start of that.
Tackling all sorts of stories, Brady's created a niche in the way he approaches his subjects as a VJ, from anagrams to farmers' woes.
Tell me about some of the stuff you find here.
Right.
So knowing that, I spent most of my time picking his brain on his filming and interview techniques, so I could learn as much as I could in the week I had with him. So we're here on location. Brady's doing one of his stories, and I'm following him, but it's freezing. We're out on a farm outside of Nottingham. So we're talking to a farmer about syringes that are washing up on his property. So Brady's over there, so let's go see what he's doing.
Whereas if you come from a completely different approach and don't think I need to always use tripods, and I'm going to film it a different way, and I'm going to be creative, and I'm going to make my story look completely different and be completely different from conventional television, I think that lends itself really well to video journalism. And because that's the approach I come from, because I never learnt the conventional TV methods, I think that gives me an advantage. And I think where I work, they like that. They like that I approach things completely differently to sort of traditional TV journalists. What are you up to today?
I'm actually helping Brady film one of his 366 series at this windmill in, I'm not sure it is. Hege. So we're doing a windmill series and interviewing some of the millers, which is really fantastic. So I've been helping him shoot it, get some amazing shots.
How are you finding the Z1?
After a few technical problems, we're sweet. We're sweet. Got it sorted now. But the question I was most keen to ask:
what are some skills a good VJ needs to have? Assuming you're a good VJ.
I think
and it's a hard question to answer when the person who asked the question is also a VJ.
I'm trying to think who the best video journalists are I know and what makes them good at it. I guess the best ones are all-rounders. They're people that seem to have grasped the 3 main disciplines, which are storytelling journalism, using the camera and collecting the material, the sound and the pictures, and using the editing system, so putting those two things together to make the story. I think the best video journalists are all-rounders and have an aptitude for everything. He came along, filmed me doing it.
Brady's so good at what he does, he was invited to be a guest speaker at a session held by the training arm of the BBC called Sonar.
Let's go see what the session's all about.
It's based in Bristol, and I was lucky enough to go along too, to learn more about story gathering, especially for VJs. Sonar manager Jake Fowler explained it like this.
So the idea is, because where we work is so many people, 24,000 people work in the BBC, about 8,000 of them are journalists. What we try to do is capture really good ideas, maybe in Scotland, in Wales, in Northern Ireland, in the southwest, and bring them together. Because often people are really good at something, but they don't know how good they are. Unless you get them together and sort of unlock some of that expertise and that talent, it can go to waste. So Sonar's about sharing opportunities, that's what it stands for, SO, sharing opportunities amongst the BBC, and we think it's quite unique.
Back in Nottingham, VJ Carly has her own thoughts on what it takes to be a good VJ.
I think you have to have some creativity. You also have to have an element of sort of skill with a camera, but obviously that can be learnt. And I think composure of pictures is a really important thing to have, and that either comes naturally to you or it doesn't, I think.
So you can't be going like this the whole time.
Unless you're Brady.
All agree though, the skills of a video journalist will become more and more important as the demand for information on the internet especially continues to grow.
It's one man's opinion, and I know a lot of people won't agree, but I think people are watching less of those TV services or those showcase things like the main news. They want little bitty things, and when people start looking for little bitty things, you need to provide more of it, because people start getting a bit more niche, and the more you need to provide, the more people you need to make it. And if you've just got 2 or 3 cameramen and 2 or 3 reporters and 2 or 3 editors, you're not going to make as much as if you had those 9 people all as video journalists.
So this takes me to Times Online website, where I spent nearly a month working mostly with the multimedia team.
First question.
It was recently named News Site of the Year in the 2008 Newspaper Awards, and this site is huge, powered by some 60 people.
So did you go to see Cameron as a Prime Minister in meeting?
So there I not only put my VJ skills to use, but I also took the chance to speak to those people who keep the site running.
We're lucky enough to have hundreds of expert journalists providing us with sensationally good content. So it's an enormous bonus in that sense for any other website if they're trying to compete with us. I think the big thing then is the cultural shift, because what we really need to be able to do is harness the energy and expertise of those people and make sure that they feel that they can deliver it on any platform.
In my time, I covered all sorts of things, including filming the regular Need to Know segment,
Which Times Online does every morning, kind of analysing the major story of the day. So I'll get that up, edited, get it straight up on the site, and that's one of the big things that they do push here. So it's just 90-second analysis using the talent from the paper and the well-known names, and that seems to really drive their video hits. So I'll get this edited.
I also covered travel, lifestyle and entertainment stories. I took a ride in a helicopter, went to the place where the infamous Profumo affair began in the 1960s, and joined a few firemen in a 17-year-old steam engine. Anne says the role of video journalists is essential to the site's future growth and development. So that's good news for people like me.
Do you think video journalists are going to grow in numbers, and is there a place for video journalists on websites?
Yes, with a capital, yeah. It's very interesting when you see people who can combine the sort of essential journalistic talents of curiosity about people asking good questions with the ability to actually do that in text and on camera. I think you'll find that you're quite a valuable asset in that sense. I have no doubt that everything is becoming more visual. and that we'll be developing, all of us will be developing the way that we actually tell stories. But I think you're part of the generation of video journalists who will actually develop a way that is a web video packaged way of telling news. I don't think that we're very sophisticated at this yet. I think it's one of the big learning things, and actually we've learned from you being here, and I hope that you've learned things that you can take back. But we're very grateful to have your skills, because there's not a lot of people like you around, and it's really very valuable.
So it's my final day in London, and I've chosen this spot on the banks of the River Thames to wrap up, and also to say thank you once again to the SA Press Club for allowing me this opportunity to come to London and work with organisations like BBC and Times Online, which really wouldn't have been possible at all without the scholarship. So I just want to say thank you. I think it's an amazing initiative and something all South Australian media should actually get behind and support. Now it's back to you, Anna, at the luncheon.